Welcome back to my channel, guys. Next in Food. I am your diva chef, Simone Walker Barrett. Welcome to all our new subscribers and welcome back to all our regulars. So guys, today's tutorial is all about Bulla, that Jamaican favorite baked goods. Today's Bulla, however, is going to be made with coconut and ginger. So we're making a coconut Bulla. So guys, for the Bulla, you need 2 sets of ingredients. You need 1 container with what we call the wet ingredients and another container with dry ingredients. So let's start with the wet ingredients. For our wet ingredients, we are going to be needing butter, shortening, molasses, honey. So pour it in some honey, and spices like ginger powder, spices like nutmeg and cinnamon. All of that gets poured into a pot, and of course some salt to taste. So this is the first part of the Bulla. So guys, in the pot we added our ingredients, wet ingredients to be exact, spices, fat. So now there cannot be a Bulla without some sweetness, right? So in the baking process, sugar is considered a wet ingredient. So the sugar is going to go in, and what is happening here, we are going to just stir the sugar until it starts to melt. This little step gives the Bulla its nice dense character that we love so much. Also, to this Bulla, I am adding some milk. The milk is totally optional. Most people would just add some water, but I feel like the milk just gives it that extra flavor. So in goes just a little bit of milk to just help the sugar along. And you see how quickly everything is coming together. So this is what it is. And this process takes literally a minute. Now we don't want to bring it to a boil. We just want to melt the sugar low and slow. And then we want it to be hot, but not too hot, because if it is too hot, you won't be able to handle the Bulla dough. So if it gets very hot while you're trying to melt the sugar, just remove it from the heat and allow it to cool down to a temperature where it is easy for you to handle. So this is what it is. Sugar is melted, spices is dissolved, and the butter is also melted. So at this point, we will add coconut. And this is 1 cup of freshly grated coconut, because this is a coconut flavor Bulla. So in goes the coconut, and simply stir to combine. So this completes the liquid aspect of the Bulla making process. So now guys, let's go over and look at what the dry ingredients are, and then we're going to combine everything to make a nice soft dough, make up pan and bake our Bulla. Let's go. For our dry ingredients, we have flour in a bowl. I prefer to use a strong flour. This flour is called or referred to in Jamaica as baking flour. Now, if you cannot find baking flour, feel free to use all-purpose flour. I must tell you though, all-purpose flour has less gluten, so you might need to reduce the liquid. So if you're using all-purpose flour, I would say replace the milk that was added with dried milk. So in this container, we're going to add some leavener. So we're adding 1 part of baking soda and 2 parts of baking powder. Now I find that both leaveners give the finished Bulla a nice character, a nice texture, a nice shape. So this is why I use both baking soda and baking powder. Baking soda gives baked product its second rise. So that is something for you to note. And then we're just going to combine with a whisk. You want to always sieve the baking powder and baking soda when you're using them to bake, because sometimes they have little lumps in them. So now that that is thoroughly combined and our liquid ingredient has cooled off, we are going to just make a well in the center and start by pouring in most of the liquid, because liquid can be added but you cannot take it out. So you just kind of want to treat this just like when you're making a dumpling dough. You don't want to add all the liquid at once. So you just want to add it in 2 portions like I am doing. And the dough is going to be just a little bit sticky, but that's fine. You don't want it to be too sticky, but then you don't want it to be too dry. So, okay, let me just move away our mat. And you want to go in and you want to feel it. So I think I can add just a little bit more. It's okay if you don't end up using all of the measured amount of liquid. That's just how it is sometimes. So look at that. Ladies and gentlemen, I wish you could smell this. So think about coconut, the smell of coconut mixed with ginger and spices. This smells absolutely amazing. So I think this is good. I'm using a wooden spoon because the liquid is still warm. It's a little bit too warm for me to touch, so I'm using my wooden spoon. And so now that it is combined, and if you desire a darker color, you can add some brown in, but this color is fine with me. So I'm going to just put a little flour on my board, and this step is called dusting the board or dredge the board. So we put a little flour just to make sure that our dough doesn't stick. So I'm going to grab a spatula, and in goes, you just want to use a spatula to get out all of that dough onto your work surface. So take a look at that, guys. Can you smell that? This smells like deliciousness. So scrape it out, all of it, get it out there. So it looks like a cookie dough. I really think the Bulla was inspired by a cookie, and this is the beauty about food history. As food travels, they have different name, because being a baker, I look at this and it reminds me of a chocolate chip cookie dough. Without the chocolate chip, all you would need to do is probably just add some chocolate chip to this. So this is what I want to do. You just want to fold it a couple times, just trying to get it into a dough. You want to get it into a nice dough so that when we roll it out, we don't have much cracks. And that little flour that we put onto the surface on our board will prevent our dough from sticking. I'm dredging it with a little bit more flour. It's nice and warm. It has a texture of Play-Doh, so that's how you want it to feel. And I'm just kind of just giving it a couple kneads, and you see it's trying to stick. So once it's trying to stick, you dust it with a little flour, and now it's time for us to roll it out and cut it, put it on our pan and bake it. So if you don't have a rolling pin, guys, you can use your hands, and you're gonna just flatten it just like this. You want to flatten it to about a half of an inch thickness. So you really don't necessarily need a rolling pin, so don't worry if you don't have one. You just flatten it out, because this dough is what we call pliable. It's very obedient, it's flexible. Do you see that? All right, so I am going to use a cup as my cutter. So I'm gonna just dredge my cup with a little flour, and I'm gonna go in and we're gonna cut, and that is our first Bulla right there. So let's see how much we're gonna get from this. Bulla is a big part of the Jamaican baking tradition. I don't think a lot of Jamaicans make bulla at home because we usually just go to the bakery and buy our favorite brand. But I'm very pleased to share with you how simple it is to make bulla at home for your family. It's very, very, very simple. So, okay, let's just cut this one again. So now that is cut, I have a tray that is lined and ready. We're just gonna add them to our tray. Just going. So guys, this is what the bullas look like after we cut them and pan them. So now we are gonna bake them for about 20 to 30 minutes at 350. So we're gonna check on them after 15 minutes to see how much longer we need. So let's go. So my Nextinfood family, the coconut bulla is finally ready. Look at this. This is what it looks like. And I like to enjoy mine with some cream cheese spread. You can have it with butter and also avocado, or in Jamaica we say pear. This is what it looks like. So let me just break into it and show you guys what it is. So I have here some cream cheese, softened cream cheese. All you have to do is just spread it on just like butter. So you spread as much as you like. Look at that. Spread the cream cheese on, and then you take a bite. Let me just show you what the texture looks like. Look at that. Isn't that something? You can see the coconut, and now we're having it with some cream cheese. So coconut bulla is getting a moment here on Nextinfood. I do hope you guys found this tutorial very informative. Bake this bulla, and when you do, tag us at Nextinfood on Instagram. And if you are new and watching this video, don't forget to subscribe, comment down below. I'd love to hear from you. Share this video. I am your diva chef, Simone Walker Barrett. I'll see you next time with another of my favorite Jamaican comfort food. Take care.